Hey, Professor Hoyt, this is Justin Moore. This is my submission for the land ethic discussion. I really like these responses or these opinion-oriented videos or discussions that you allow us to do, just kind of speak our mind on certain topics. And so going into the land ethic, I think the biggest thing I kind of had to realize was that I have developed it over time. I don't think that there was one moment where I just kind of had an opinion about what I thought of how we should treat the land and how we should, respect wildlife and the ecosystems and what decisions, like what choices we make, how they affect other things. And I'll just make this clear. If I look like I'm looking around, I can't look at myself in the camera or I'll lose focus. And then I have also like a little script with stuff that I want to just kind of help me stay on track. But I wouldn't say that like it's something I developed over like one day. I think it was over time, all the way from when I was a little kid. And so probably around like elementary school age, we had a nice piece of land. Our house, we had probably about 40 acres total, and it was a nice 40 acres. It had a creek on it that flew into a much larger river known as the Brazos, and then just a bunch of diversity like among the trees and the plants, and there were so many animals and so much I don't even want to call it stuff. There was so much opportunity that I had as a kid that I think really comes as a blessing, and kind of has a lot more effect on how I view protecting land and using it. And so what this allowed me to do was just to go out and explore. I think that's something that not every kid gets, to just go out and build a fort. Which, like building a fort with trees and like limbs and stuff that you find on the ground and just like brush, that's some of the best memories that I have. We'd collect glass jars that we'd find in the forest and just like bring them to the fort and make this little like hut. But it's a really unique experience. And so, like I said, there's 40 acres of land. This led to many trials and tribulations. There were a lot of things we could do. So as far as trials, had to watch out for snakes. Obviously, there's like get into the summer, it's a lot more a chance that you're gonna get bitten by a snake. That was always like a thing for us. My mom always had this worry that we were gonna get bitten by like a rattlesnake or something, or a copperhead. But I've not been bit by a snake yet, so fingers crossed that I just keep that streak going. But that creek that we had was a fairly large creek, pretty wide. It'd be fairly full in the springtime, but as it got through like to the end of summer, it'd dry up. But we still found our swimming holes and found the deeper spots, and it was fun to just go down there and use the land that we've been blessed with. So like, excuse me, sorry, I just had lunch, but riding dirt bikes and hiking and building trails, just all sorts of things that we could use that land for. We also hunted on it. I have a lot of stories of hunting deer and hogs. We have hogs out there, or we had hogs out there. It's not our land anymore, but we would also dove hunt on it, and shot a coyote one time. So I have very fond experiences. And so kind of where I'm trying to get to of how my land ethic has kind of developed would be more on the side of use the space that you're giving, but respect the land. We didn't abuse the land. Like, just riding dirt bikes was probably the roughest we were on it. But we had trails. We weren't ever really like going all around. There were a bunch of trees, so we would just make these trails through the trees and just stay on the trails. Also from the side of hunting, I have memories of my dad waking up at like 5 a.m. and going to hunt and just sitting out there in the cold, with a blanket. I think that that's something, being able to go hunting with my dad really just like seeing nature in itself. And there's no really, like, I didn't have a phone, so I was just there in nature, just being present in real life. And so, going dove hunting too in the afternoons. I have a story. We went hog hunting one time, and we installed these green lights on our feeder, and then there were probably like 6 of us set up in a blind, but it wasn't really like a blind. It was like a makeshift blind that we had. We'd use like tree limbs and stuff to like make a little like barrier, and it was on this like plateau. It's kind of weird, but there were probably like 6 of us, and we ended up getting like 5 or 6 hogs, and that was really cool. But what are some things that like I would consider to be like crossing the line? Let me find my place real quick. So I think overusing an area or over hunting it, I think that's definitely abuse. That's nothing that I ever ran into though, because it was private property. We didn't hunt that much. We only needed like 1 deer to fill up our freezer. So typically that was just a toss up between me and my brothers who was getting it. And then what would other be a crossing line? Abusing the land by disrupting ecosystems. I think if you go out there and you just start cutting down trees and mowing the grass and just interrupting a lot of what is naturally happening, I think that could be abuse of the land, unless you're planning on using it like for like industrialized use, or like if you're gonna put homes down there. But otherwise, I don't think that's really necessary. And then I think to a point, protecting it and not actually using it could be crossing the line too. We talked about it earlier this semester in class about how some of the national parks, they're trying to keep it the same, but by keeping it the same, they're actually like setting them back, because they're not able to, evolve, I guess, really move with the rest of the world. And so I would say that those are most of my my foundational values with land ethic. I would say still, today we have land. We have only now about 13 acres though, inside of the city limits. So we can't rifle hunt. We could. Technically, we have pretty cool neighbors. They'd be more than fine with it, but we're really supposed to bow hunt. Dove hunting is not that big of a deal. We still have room for dirt bikes and stuff. So it's relatively still the same idea. A little bit different though. We're on the Bosque River now. And so we actually have like a real like river running through the back of our property. And so that kind of changes it up, because now we can go fishing, use the river for that, which I'm not much of a fisher, but my brother is in love with it. He just got a new boat. And so there are a couple other questions that I just kind of was asking myself. What differences do I see in my property being used compared to how I see the university and other people using the land? And I would say that other people don't care as much, but I wouldn't say that it's because they don't care. I just think they're not as educated, or maybe don't have the same experiences as me growing up. I think a lot of people just take nature for granted. And so kind of like this class has made me like notice things, I guess. Like being in this class and I'm in a horticulture lab, it's just kind of helped me like notice like, oh, I recognize that tree, it was on my lab ID test, or seeing things that I otherwise wouldn't have really cared about. And it really just doesn't cross a lot of people's minds as they're walking across campus or just being in nature. And so I think that this class has helped me to see the importance of everyday nature. It's not something that you necessarily think about, but like when you do take a moment to step back and notice how much more nature there is around us, whether that's been put there naturally or not, which a lot of the trees in Lubbock are not. I think that can change a lot of how your respect for certain things are, like where you step, like what it does to those trees that they were always cutting back, not letting them grow out, or like literally planting a tree like right in the middle of concrete, knowing that its roots are going to probably end up messing up the entire foundation. I just think that, there's so much natural beauty around Texas Tech campus that people really just take for granted. And I think finally, last but not least, it's important to take into consideration that not everybody is educated or as educated on certain aspects of natural ecosystems and landscapes. But knowing what I know now, being able to maybe inform them a little better, maybe not as good as you, but knowing a little bit more about what it takes to notice things, you know? If people have questions, I'm obviously more equipped now to answer those questions or maybe inform people, you know? I'm no PhD, I'm no doctor. I'm still a freshman, but I think that if I could have any influence on any single person about anything that we've gone over in this class or land ethic or anything, I think that I'm better off for it. And so that's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. You can probably watch it at 2x speed. I'm not sure how this is going to translate to Blackboard, because last time I did it, the link just stayed the link. It didn't turn into the video. So I'm going to try something different and hopefully get it to you. Thank you so much.